Hey, what's up everyone? My name is AJ Writes Crypto and welcome to the price prediction department. In this video, by popular demand, we are going to take a look at Sand. Thank you to Stake for sponsoring this video. Let's get it. If you were already in crypto at the end of December 2020 or the beginning of January 21, you would remember Sand being in the ballpark somewhere between 2 to 3 cents. If you were lucky enough to buy Sand at that point in time and hold it until November of 2021, you were just a part of one of the biggest run-ups I think I've ever seen in crypto. In fact, if you bought $100 worth of Sand on January 1st, 2021 for 3.5 cents and you sold it at the all-time high in November, you would have walked away with $23,857 off of $100. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't think anyone saw that coming from the beginning of 2021. But here's the thing, that was the year of the metaverse. Everything was about gaming coins. The metaverse was a new topic in everyone's mind, and all the hype was very much concentrated in that sector. Before that, it was the DeFi summer, and now it's looking like it's AI. But will the metaverse rise again? Will coins like Sand get the same amount of attention that they garnered at the end of 2021? Let's look into it. One of the things I like most about the Sandbox is the upper echelon level of partnerships they have been able to lock down. We are talking companies like Adidas, Gucci, Ubisoft, and we're talking celebrities like Paris Hilton, Steve Aoki, Snoop Dogg, and my favorite, Tony Hawk. When you lock down partnerships at this level, not only does it make the optics for the company look really good, it also attracts other companies and other celebrities at that level to your product. And I think that's a really big part of what will attract new users to Sand over time. When you think about how far Sand has come since it put in that all-time high, I mean, people were just buying like grid little blocks on OpenSea. Now they're to the point where they have alpha passes and events where you can actually go into the metaverse they're creating. Not only that, you can create NFTs, you can create your avatar, you can build on your own land and create gaming experiences for people to share, and eventually you'll be able to monetize these experiences. According to their roadmap for 2023, users will be able to self-publish experiences on their land by Q3 of this year. You'll be able to create estates and rent land and estates by Q4 of this year. Also, by Q4 of this year, you'll be able to host experiences on premium land, and you'll be able to mint assets to the blockchain as NFTs. And I think these features are things that some people don't even realize that Sand has to offer at this point in time. Using the Vox editor, you can create your own NFTs and eventually be able to sell them on the marketplace. Not many NFT projects are offering a 3D modeler or an animator for you to create whatever pops in your head. And then being able to think of an idea, create it, and sell it on the blockchain, I mean, that's pretty cool. And the game editor, I think, might be even cooler than that. The game editor is free to use, and you don't need to know how to code to create the gaming experience you want. Recently on Twitter, I saw that the Sandbox is doing like a contest giveaway for who creates some of the coolest games on the Game Maker. I don't know who's going to take home the prize of 1,000 Sand, but this game here by Lucky the Sandbox looks pretty fun to me. I'm pretty bullish on the Sandbox. There's not a better example of a metaverse, of where a world where, you know, gaming and blockchain collides and people can interact and go do events and play in that world together. I think all of that is awesome, but that doesn't mean there's not any drawbacks here. You might have already heard back when Binance and Coinbase both got hit by the SEC. Unfortunately, Sand is one of those coins that they listed as a crypto asset security. And right rightfully so, Sandbox's COO, Sebastian Bourget, came out and said that he doesn't agree that they're being labeled a security. And of course he would say that, right? The problem here is that we can't tell the future and we don't know how much this is going to or not going to matter. In an article from Decrypt, Sebastian Bourget did mention that the Sandbox token has been named in the lawsuit, but the team themselves hasn't directly been subjected to litigation. You have to keep in mind, this is how the SEC is playing this. Instead of going head to head with a project like they're going head to head with XRP, they're trying to implicate projects in other lawsuits and bunch them together in a basket instead of going after them individually. They tried to do the same thing in the Coinbase insider trading case when they listed 8 or 9 coins in that case, but when that case settled, that was left out of the picture. So this is a tactic that the SEC has tried before and it hasn't worked yet, but it's hard to tell what's going to happen in the future. It's really not a surprise to me that Animoca Brands as a whole is looking to shift their focus in other places for if things don't work out in the US. Also, in the same article from Decrypt, it says that only 1/3 of the users in the Sandbox are American. So with all that in mind, let's jump into the price prediction. So like I started the video with, the run of 21 for Sand was one of the most monumental, jaw-dropping pumps in all of crypto history. The question is, can Sand replicate that magic again? So this is how we're going to break it down. Sand put in its all-time high on November 25th, 2021 at $8.36. At the time, its supply was a little over 892 million, with a market cap over 6.68 billion. Right now, Sand is currently priced at 39 cents with a supply of 1.85 billion and a market cap around 724 million. As you can see, almost a billion coins have been added to its supply since its previous all-time high. Not to mention, the price of Sand is down around 95% since its all-time high, and it has lost over $5.95 billion from its market cap. So remember, our equation for price predictions is price equals market cap divided by circulating supply. And as you can see in this situation, the market cap has fallen drastically and the supply has gone up a little less than a billion coins. So the question I have to answer is how many coins will be in the supply by the time we get to the top of the next bull run, which is projected to be around September, November of 2025. There are a plethora of coins out there that have very confusing vesting schedules. Luckily, Sand's a little bit better. Cut and dry, Sand will be fully vested in February of 2025 when it reaches its max supply of 3 billion coins. As you can see, that's not exactly helping the bullish price prediction, considering 62% of the coins are already in the supply and 38% of the coins still have to go into the supply, and they will be there by the time we get to the top. So let me put this into perspective for you. Remember, when Sand hit its all-time high of $8.36, its market cap was a little over 6.68 billion. So if we take that previous all-time high from the market cap, but add it to Sand after it fully vested with 3 billion coins in its supply, that would spit us out at about a $2.23 Sand. I know that might not be a number a lot of you want to hear, but that's still a 506% increase from its current price. So with that heightened supply, to get back to that $8.36 all-time high, that would require a $25.1 billion market cap. That's a lot of money. And for coins in crypto, a $25 billion market cap is very, very high. For example, at the top of the last bull run, if you don't include stablecoins, only 9 projects exceeded a $25 billion market cap. So do I think that Sand can one day maybe get to a $25 billion market cap? I mean, anything is possible, but do I think it's going to happen by the top of the next bull run? Probably not. We have to stay realistic and take into account that less than 1/3 of its supply was in circulation at the top of the last bull run. For the next bull run, the entire supply will be in circulation. So the bullish side of it is their partnerships, how much the ecosystem's growing, all the new things you're able to do in the metaverse, X, Y, and Z. That's all great. But the bearish news is it going to be considered a crypto asset security? How is regulation going to affect this in the future? And these are questions that we still don't have answers to. We really have to appreciate the fact how much work Sand has to do to reclaim that $5.95 billion it lost from its market cap. To be honest, I think it is possible for it to reclaim that market cap, but it's going to take more work than you think. To keep it real with you, I might be too bullish on this price prediction because this price prediction requires it catching back up to its previous all-time high in market cap. I think it can do that, but it is asking a lot. So say it passes its previous all-time high in market cap. How high do you think we can go? If Sand went to a $10 billion market cap, the price of the coin would be $3.33, which represents a 788% increase. If it went to a $12 billion market cap, Sand would be around $4, which would represent a 958% increase. So what exactly is my price prediction? In my opinion, at the top of the next bull run, I think Sand is going to land somewhere between $2.23 and $3.35. Boom, there you go. There's my price prediction on Sand. Am I too conservative? Am I too bullish? Let me know in the comments below. And to be real, that's the fun of doing the price predictions, kind of figuring out what's the supply going to be, how high can the market cap go. We have to consider, like, what if regulation hits America really hard? Sand might not get that high, but what if Sand takes on more partnerships and the regulation ends up working out for us? It could go higher than $3.35, but we still have to kind of really zone in on what is possible and what's realistic based off the tokenomics. Tokenomics is something that's really overlooked by a lot of people, especially when they buy into a coin and plan to hold it for a long time. There's scenarios like when they buy in the coin, it could only have 2 billion in the supply, but by the time you hold it for a couple of years, it could have 15, 18, 20 billion in the supply. And you really need to know that and learn what that means. The value that your initial buy is losing if the price of the coin is getting inflated really high like that. So regardless of if you think I'm right or wrong, my lesson here is that really always pay attention to the tokenomics of whatever project you plan on holding for the long term. So with that said, let me know in the comments what you think about the price prediction. I already know what coin I'm going to do for the next one, and I think everyone's really going to be excited to see what I have to say about that one. My name is AJ Writes Crypto. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend.